I'm reading a letter from my nephew Thomas, who was the brother of Jamiel. He wants me to read this letter for him. Thomas writes, "Why did you take my brother's life? When I was home, you were on the streets looking for trouble. You took a piece of me when he died. I was like, no, he's not dead. They're tricking me. Then I ran down there and saw the day after you murdered him, I saw blood. And when I found out you did it, I wanted to do some bad things to you. How would you feel if your mom or your dad or your sister or one in your family died? Would you cry? Would you eat your feelings away? You wouldn't care because you took my brother's life. So you don't know how to love. But just remember, when you die, you will have a lot of questions for God. I want you to remember that." This is the end of my letter from Thomas Shaw.
The first day that I found out that my nephew was dead, I could not believe it. And I just couldn't understand why a gang member would just come out and take somebody's life. I mean, the days when I was growing up, it was basically you use your fists. You don't just go and kill somebody cold blood. It's the coward's way out. And I believe whatever crime you do, you deserve whatever penalty there is for it. Me as a taxpayer in California and anybody else should not have to pay for you to continue to be a burden on society. Because if you've decided that's what you're going to do, then that's what you're going to do, and it should not be like that. So, and whatever questions you, like my nephew said in his letter, whatever questions you have for God, he'll answer them for you when you get to where you need to be.
Most of you guys know that I'm a Christian, and you know the Bible says that you're supposed to forgive. But I find myself, I'm not that strong of a Christian because I can't turn around and say, I forgive you for killing my son. But I know the Lord's working with me. And I just want you to know that when you die, there's a judgment. You're going to have to stand before God and state why you killed my son. Why you think you're big enough to be God to take someone else's life. Because no one has that right. No one at all has the right to play the role as God. When my son was murdered, I was in Iraq, my second tour. The commander had called me into the office and he told me, he said, Sergeant Shaw, your son, he said his name wrong, Jamal, has been murdered. And I lost it. And I don't understand why. I still don't understand why. But I do believe that God has a reason for things to happen. And I just trust in him that everything's going to be all right. But I'm compelled to say John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believe in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. That's all.
I saw my son laying in the street the very next day. I saw the blood, and it made me realize that, it was some innocent blood spilled. And we wore the red. It was my idea to wear red to represent the innocent blood that was spilled. And the second reason why was because the guy who murdered my son hates red. Red he would despise the color red. So I wore it to let him see that you can't control people. He wasn't in any kind of gang, never been arrested, never been suspended from school, 3-time MVP. He played football for 3 years straight, 3 times MVP, player of the year. He was running track. He ran the 100, the 200. He did the long jump and then 2 relays, you know. And all that was my design, you know. I thought I was helping him in life. Espinoza was almost groomed the same way. You know, if you look at both of them, my son was groomed for greatness and he was groomed for disaster, but he was good at it, you know, because he was doing it so much in life that when he got to 19 years old, he was like for murder, you know. He was to run up on someone just to shoot them dead just because they're black and just because you think that they're a bad person, or, you know, just because they're there, it takes a certain kind of person. And those kind of people do not deserve to walk amongst us. For the last 4 years, I still don't even believe it happened. My mind is still, I don't even believe it, you know. His room is the same way. All his clothes and his shoes, and it is so depressing when I go into his room that I can't even change anything because if I touch something to try to clean up or to move it, everything has a memory, you know. And he has destroyed me as a person, you know. Yes, I'm still alive, but I'm destroyed because I can't get over the fact that someone would do someone like that, to shoot them dead just because, you know. Those kind of people do not deserve. They deserve the exact same thing they're handed out. You know, my son is dead, you know, and he needs to remember that forever. He needs the biggest punishment that he can get is the death penalty, and from that day on, he can rot in hell. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.